Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I'm back to post a quick video here. This is going to be just a video I decided to do maybe a day or two ago. Um, Actually, one that just kind of, well, it's kind of interesting because sometimes I'll be watching videos here in the VC and, someone will say something to make a comment about something, about a song or whatever, or my favorite this or the greatest this or whatever else. And when they make that comment, it'll kind of get my wheels turning, and all of a sudden I start thinking about, oh, what do I think is the greatest this, or what else would I add to their list or whatever, and anytime I can, those wheels start spinning and they don't stop, I kind of know, oh yeah, the video's coming pretty soon here. And so that's kind of what happened is I was watching videos this past week, and I watched a video by Vegan Hill, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with her channel or not, but she just started making some videos here, and she was showing an album, and when she showed the album, she made a comment about a song on there where she said, this is probably like one of the best pop songs ever or something like that. And I totally agreed with her. And then it kind of made me think, like, what would be some of the other songs that I would really put as like some of the greatest pop songs ever? And of course, there's so many of them. What I decided to do was, and I'm not naming the song because one of the songs the song she said, I actually chose. So I'll show it to you here in a minute. But I thought, well, yeah, let me just kind of, start making my list. And like I said, when I was at work and as I was driving around and everything, like, the list just, I'm making that list in my head all the time, and I'll think of something and write it down on a receipt inside of my car or whatever. And so had a few minutes today and just thought, let me pull some stuff and just kind of show, what this one's going to be, which is 10, what I think are 10 perfect pop songs. And and again, there's so many pop songs, so many decades. I'm going to kind of do some different videos narrowing each one down to kind of some specific criteria. So for this one, it's going to be 10 kind of perfect, upbeat, more 80s type of pop songs. Okay, so we're kind of staying very limited there. Things that have a I don't know, I'm not a DJ and all that, but have, a higher beat per minute type of thing, that are more, can be kind of dance related because they're so upbeat and so up tempo, and that are very, pop friendly, radio friendly, and really all were big songs in the whole nine. So that's kind of the criteria of this particular video. And then I kind of decided I'm going to do it for other things too. I'll do one with more of a, mellow pace songs, and then I'll do some, R&B 80s, and I'll do, with this one I don't have any female artists. I want to do one strictly for, best female upbeat, but just kind of whatever. So it's just, just whatever comes to mind where I just want to talk about music, and another list that pops up in my head or whatever else. So this time again, we're starting with 80s up-tempo, pop, radio-friendly, some of the best songs that come to mind when I think about that. So the song that she was talking about that really sparked that for me came off of this album. This will give you a good idea of kind of where I'm starting. And it's the song Just Like Heaven off of The Cure's Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, which is a great album, period. I mean, that song is just, arguably it is one of my favorite, definitely one of my top three Cure songs. But yeah, it's just a fantastic song that has all the different elements that made The Cure so great. And I think one of the things that I find very impressive about it is the fact that it can be very difficult to take a song that is as upbeat as this song and still bring such an element of kind of emotion and love and passion into it. I don't think that's typically it's not a very, very easy thing to do. And, The Cure completely and totally nailed it with Just Like Heaven. You could easily label that a love song. Um, so yeah, that's definitely upbeat 80s pop perfection. And again, don't get too caught up in the genre thing, because I know how I can be very anal about that. You know, New wave, alternative, 80s pop. I mean, some of the stuff obviously can flow back and forth between those, but the gist of this is more about just talking about perfect pop songs that are more upbeat. next one that we have here, and again, if I bounce a year or two, 'cause I know with one or two of these, I'm a little bit out of the 80s, but still I'm following the feel of the music. The second one I'm going with is REM off the album Green, which is what's actually playing in the background. Kind of low, I don't know if you can hear it or not. But I'm going with the song Orange Crush off of REM's Green. Definitely one of my favorite REM songs. The vocal delivery, especially around the chorus, you know, when he sings the "Got My Spine, Got My Orange Crush," just like the way that rolls off his voice with that I don't even know how to describe the beat to the song, but it's just like there's just the energy behind that I love. My favorite REM song to listen to. I don't know if it's my favorite REM song, but it's definitely my favorite song to listen to by them. As strange as that may sound, it's just a fantastic feel that I get from the rhythm and the energy of that song, and just kind of, you know, where it flows. It's really good stuff. The next one that I'm going here is one that I'm sure you guys know pretty well, off of Dead or Alive, Youthquake. It's a song "You Spin Me Around," and of course everybody and their mom knows that song. And it's one of those songs too when you know, you say it now and it's like, yeah, it's that old 80s song and everybody knows it. You've heard it in movies, and you know, you remember from The Wedding Singer and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes I think when you talk about songs, you also need to kind of go back to, you know, let's talk about that song a week or 6 months after this album came out. You know, if you could go back and hear it with those ears, you know, that is a perfect pop song. I mean, you have elements of dance music in there, of course. You almost have elements of some disco elements inside of it. And of course, the alternative vocal delivery and everything else. I mean, it really was a perfect, upbeat, pop, radio-friendly type of song. You know, before it gets played out to where it just becomes another 80s song that everyone knows. So that's definitely one I have to put on the list as being that perfect type of pop song. Now here's one where I'm cheating a little bit, because this album came out I think in 2011, something like that. Yeah, 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. It's a Neon Indian. And the song that I'm picking off of here is the song Polish Girl. Now again, this is supposed to be 80s, upbeat, whatever else, but this album gives me such a strong feel of that 80s new wave type of synth pop that, again, I felt like I almost had to include it inside of this these particular picks. And you know, and I really like this too, because there are current bands that do, you know, kind of an 80s synth type of feel, but sometimes I still feel like there are a lot of them that still get overshadowed by, they're still more clearly, I guess for lack of better ways to describe it, they're more modern day hipster that are trying to bring in some of those old 80 elements, and then there's some bands that actually take me back to that 80s time period. And again, that's all opinion, and it's all about how, you know, emotionally how you feel when the music hits your ears. Because with Neon Indian, again, when it hits my ears, it takes me back to that 80s new wave synth pop type of thing. And so my two favorite songs off this album is Hex Girlfriend, which is absolutely great, but again, my favorite song is Polish Girl. I love the kind of voiced box type of vocals. It definitely has a very, very cool beat to it, but it also has this, and again, I don't know about music in terms of writing and sheet music and all of that, and beat times and all of that type of thing, but it's almost like there's this element of like a reggae type of timing in the song. Yes, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but with me saying that, if you haven't heard it before, if you go back and listen to it, you'll definitely get a feel for what I'm talking about there. So a fantastic album, and definitely love that song to death. Now the next few here, I won't pretty much say much because I'm sure you guys are very familiar with these, but you got to go with The Reflex by Duran Duran. Again, when I think about a song that'll make you get up and dance, it's coming on the radio, you know, back in the 80s, Again, I don't think it gets much better than the Reflex. That song is perfect, really, really perfect. The only thing I have maybe a little bit of a problem with is I don't like the intro that much when they do the flex, 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 and then they come in with the. It's like, yeah, it's just something about that just never quite rubbed me right. They could have had a better intro than that. But that's the only piece of the song I have something to say anything about. So again, perfect up tempo dance song. It will not get better than the Reflex by Duran Duran. Next, I'm gonna go with one by NXS off of their Kick album. I could have went with the song "What You Need," but I'm gonna go with the song "New Sensation." And again, I think when it comes to the upbeat nature of that song, I'm not gonna call it a guitar riff, but the guitar rhythm of that song and "New Sensation," I think it's just it's a really powerful thing where it captures you from the moment that you hear it kick in, where it comes in almost by itself, and then it just doesn't let go the entire song. It just keeps you on that awesome rhythm. And I think one of the things that makes it such a powerful song within that guitar rhythm is because, again, in my mind, there's a very, very strong gospel element in that guitar rhythm and the way that song's delivered. And and I think it's a very, very powerful thing when you start talking about rock and roll music. Because with any type of rock music, I mean, for the most part, a good majority of the time actually, all of that stuff is going to be traced back to blues and gospel. I mean, jazz can be put in there as well, but all things rock and roll came from blues and gospel. And there's a significant staying power, I think, in those, and just the base element of where all this music came from. So when you can incorporate that into rock music, I think it's definitely this underlying element that comes into play that just really makes a song a little bit more powerful than it was before, maybe a lot more powerful than it was before. And I think people don't think about that much, but NXS is a band that really took those elements in. I mean, What You Need, New Sensation, a number of other songs. I mean, those, I could easily name one or two gospel songs that sound and play off the exact same rhythms that they have within those two songs. Especially What You Need. That is a total gospel song. but but anyway, so yeah, I'm just kind of definitely have to pick New Sensation as being one of those perfect radio friendly pop songs, 80s, 90s, and so forth. Another band that does a really good job of that, how about the whole gospel element, is the Black Crowes. I mean, they nail that. But that's a whole nother nice 10 video. Next, we're going to go with Flesh for Lulu. This is Long Live the New Flesh, and the song I Go Crazy. If you guys are like me, the first time I heard this song was off of the soundtrack Some Kind of Wonderful. Great soundtrack, great, up-tempo 80s type of alternative rhythm. Of course, his voice is that whole monotone, perfect 80s delivery, very catchy lyrics. I mean, you ask most people about this song, the one thing they all remember is "Isn't That Nice," like Miami Vice. Like that lyric seems to stick out to, or stuck out and sticks out to everyone when it comes to that song. And it's kind of cool too, because even with those 80 elements, the guitar that plays on top of that is very much almost like a Stray Cats 60s rock and roll type of guitar tone, which I think again it may be something that we don't pay as much attention to, but it definitely brings an element to the track. So yeah, I Go Crazy is definitely another perfect pop track. And my boy Joe Jackson, this is Night and Day, and of course the song I'm going to pick off of here is Stepping Out, my favorite song by him. Of course, very nice, upbeat, awesome song. Joe doing his thing on the piano in a very kind of subtle way, and just the feel of that song. I mean, that song just embodies the 80s. When I think about maybe some couple in their early 20s or whatever, and going out on the town in the 80s to the with your Miami Vice, suits or whatever, and big hair and all that type of stuff. And it's just like if you could take that entire city atmosphere and put it into notes, it would turn into "Stepping Out" by Joe Jackson. So yeah, I think that's definitely a perfect upbeat 80s pop track as well. And the last two, we're going to go with "Fascination" by the Human League. Again, very common song, but very, very creative song. A good play off of the deeper bass tone voice and the more high pitch of the girls. And from a dance perspective, I mean, it's definitely a very, very borderline disco slash alternative type of mix that I think really made it just a very powerful song. So again, not my favorite Human League song, but I can't deny that when you look at it from a standpoint of just a well put together, radio friendly pop track, it's perfect in that regard, under that definition. And last but not least, we're going to go with "Erasure." And the song that we're going to go with off of this one is "A Little Respect." And you get just the same thing I've been saying about the other ones, just another perfect pop track. Great vocal delivery, very good lyrics. My favorite song by Erasure is actually "Always," which is more of a slower, not necessarily ballad, but yeah, I definitely think that "A Little Respect." I remember hearing that for the first time on the radio back in high school, and I just thought it was just an awesome track. So, all right, so there you go, VC. That's one of what I'm assuming is probably going to be quite a few videos, just going through and picking out some of the top 10 or 10 of the best or 10 great of whatevers. So I think the next one I might do, because there's a lot of things I left out this time because they weren't as on the upbeat side, but kind of doing some, perfect 80s pop tracks, maybe that are more kind of a, slower pace or whatever, maybe kind of getting into some more of like some of that classic Depeche Mode type stuff and things of that nature. So that'll probably be the next one that I do. But yeah, I just wanted to, talk music and share. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree with any of these. Let me know if there's others that you would put on the list that kind of fit the same description. And as always, we'll talk to you soon, VC. Take care, guys.